It's week 12. We got a much smaller 10-game main slate this week with lots of chalk. I've got you covered for all your pivots to help you take down the Millie Maker this week. Let's go. What up, everybody? It's your boy DFSUpNorth, aka Josh Thomas, here with another 10 under 10 GPP breakdown where I share with you my 5 favorite plays on Draftkings and my 5 favorite plays on FanDuel, all projecting under 10% owned on the main slate. It is a weird week, right? We've had 3 games on Thursday, a game today. You still have a Sunday night and a Monday night game. So we only have a 10-game main slate. There's lots of good games on the slate, but because of that, there's lots of chalk pooling up on these high-powered offenses. It's a little bit tricky to get off of them, but you really only need a few little different pieces in your lineup. It is okay to eat the chalk in a week like this. You don't need to go crazy. You just need to find a couple of spots where you can jump in and see like, hey, I'm gonna make this little pivot from here to here, right? And we're gonna talk about that and all of that good stuff. But first, let's recap last week's 10 under 10 because we had a pretty good week. If you guys have ever watched this before, you know that my motto when it comes to GPPs is first or last. I ain't here to min cash. I am trying to find the guys that are gonna help me be the next DFS Army big winner. This was in golf a couple of years ago, right? I saw that one in there the other day, and I thought, you know what? Let's get my boy back in there. Just an unreal lineup. Right? Build 20 lineups, put those in the 20 and the $1 contest, and use 5. No, this was last year, right? Last or 12. Yeah, this one was last year, I think. But yeah, you know, we crush golf, but we also crush NFL, and we did pretty good last week in NFL. We had a decent week. So DTR obviously struggled. We knew we were taking a chance there, but Kyler Murray continues to impress. QB7 last week, 3.7x value. Derrick Henry apparently does not own the Jaguars anymore, guys. Got to let you know he does not own the Jags anymore. But a guy that I'm willing to go right back to this week. Not listed in here, but I do like him. Brandon Ayuk, a smash, 4.11x value, which is crazy. Jake Ferguson, but tight end overall was pretty bad last week. What I was really proud of, though, is we were all over Trevor Lawrence. QB1, 4.6x value, just absolute smash spot. I was on him. Geek was on him for the DFS Army subs last week. So really, really happy to see some guys take down some big-time contests on him. Justin Fields, you got to play him every single week. We got the Rico Dowdle touchdown 1 week late. Got it on Thanksgiving here. Puka Nacua, he was a video addition. So if you watched us last week, we had Noah Brown in here initially. I showed you guys sort of my process of how I go through and find guys for this article. Puka was a guy that stood out. We talked about him, and he ended up being wide receiver 13 for the week, 2.2x value. We'll take that. Right behind him was Romeo Doubs. So 2.34, 2.5, not bad, right? A couple of duds held us down. I'd like to be over 3, especially when we nail the QB1, the wide receiver 5, both at like 4+ X value. And we figured that out, right, by the points that they have divided by the salary that they are. So a little bit, disappointing there. But again, it just it sticks out to me like a sore thumb every single week that running back continues to be a disaster outside of the chalk. Unless it's a smash play, we shouldn't be taking chances on running backs that are under 10% owned. And I say that, and I just can't freaking help myself because there's another guy in here this week. So before we get to the guys, let's look at the chalkboard, kind of see where the chalk is setting up this week, right? At the top, maybe a little chasey here, but Trevor Lawrence, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, all coming in towards the top. I am, as you're going to see in this article, right, these 3 should be the highest owned. I am smashing this little range right here of Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. I think they're all elite plays. So I'm just taking one step off of those stud quarterbacks and just coming down a little bit, right? Running back, Jonathan Taylor in a great spot, Javonte Williams in a great spot, Rashad White in a great, all these guys in decent spots are projecting towards a lot of ownership. There's Derrick Henry again. You really can't, the only guy that's maybe sub 10 outside of the one that I have listed is Alvin Kamara. And then I think we see this Jalen Warren number go, and Joe Mixon for that matter. I think that we see both those guys climb up over 10% as the weeks go. This is DraftKings ownership. We'll take a look at FanDuel in a second here. I just wanted to point that out real quick. Tank Dell, obviously, guy has been smashing. Michael Wilson, Mike Pittman. As we kind of go down here, this is sort of the range that I'm living in, just right below 10%. Guys like Puka, Josh Downs, DeAndre Hopkins, Deontay Johnson, love Khalil Shakir, especially love all of those guys. Tight end, some studs here. Obviously, I think that I actually have been building lineups, just hammering 2 tight ends on DraftKings this week, and it's these 2 right here, Trey McBride and Dalton Kincaid, mostly because I love Josh Allen and I love Kyler Murray and their game environment. So I'm gonna eat some of the chalk here this week, but there is one tight end that I am interested in. It's goes against everything in my being, but I listed him this week. So we look at FanDuel. It's pretty similar, right? We see those guys like Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, a little bit lower owned. CJ Stroud gets a bump just because he's a little bit cheaper over there. Very similar on FanDuel. We get the touchdown guys like Pacheco a little bit more involved. And notice Derrick Henry is quite a bit less owned, I think 3% there. Wide receiver, the same for the most part. AJ Brown jumps up a little bit, but nothing crazy. Trey McBride, just because of where he's priced, is going to be a little bit lower owned. But people are still flocking to Travis Kelce. I mean, he is due a big game here. And again, this is our initial run at ownership. It's going to change. But it's a first look for us, right? It's a first look. So if we look at my guys that I am interested in here this week, it's right back to the well with Kyler Murray. He's going up against the Los Angeles Rams defense. They're so bad. Okay. In 2 starts, he's ran for a TD in both. He threw for a TD last week as well. He's getting back in the swing of things. We are going to see him have a smash game here. People like Wilson. I just kind of want to go with like a Trey McBride stack here, or I think a Marquise Brown big win game, like something like that could be sneaky this week. I'm not convinced though that Greg Dortch is the guy. All right. It just, I just don't love it. Oh, Marquise Brown is likely, he's questionable. I thought I saw something about that today. He was held out Thursday. It was precautionary. I saw that and I wrote this, and now they held him out again on Friday with the heel injury. So if he is out, then yeah, obviously the other wide receivers there are great plays, but I think you can run Kyler Murray alone. His floor is great. Like I said, we crush in NFL too. Shout out to my boy Nolan. A guy that's going to go way under owned here, despite having some elite weapons at his side and the ability to run, is Jake Browning. 2.63% owns, 5,200. So taking over for Joe Burrow this week. Obviously, Burrow's out with a season-ending injury. They didn't sign anybody. It looks like it's going to be Jake Browning's show from here on out. No T. Higgins again this week, but the guy's still got Jamar Chase. He's still got Tyler Boyd. He's still got Tanner Hudson, Trenton Irwin, Irv Smith. So there, Joe Mixon. There are weapons in this offense that he can lean on. The Steelers are a good, not great defense. And for a guy that can take off and run with the ball a little bit, I think that he could be a sneaky, strong play. 5,200. He doesn't need to do much. Don't love that it's a divisional matchup to start, but he is at home, which is definitely helpful. I think that he could be your cheap guy on DraftKings this week to let you fit in some of the studs. Keep going down here on DraftKings. Adam Thielen, right? So we're getting into the wide receivers now. Notice no running backs on DraftKings this week. Thielen, okay, been in the Millie Maker twice already this year. 11 and 10 targets the last 2 games, going up against the Titans, who have just been shredded by everybody in the air. So even Bryce Young can shred them. And Thielen is really due some positive TD regression. He's still having the same sort of volume that he had earlier this year when he had those Millie Maker winning plays, but it seems like everybody's forgotten about him, mostly because he's priced up a little on DK. But we'll see here in a minute when we build on DraftKings that you can get an Adam Thielen in your lineup and still feel pretty good about the rest of it. And one of the ways we do that is playing a guy like Khalil Shakir, right? 3,600. He's super cheap. He fell out to the wayside a little bit when Dalton Kincaid kind of got into it, but they started running more 3 wide receiver sets last week with our offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. And I think that we'll see Shakir continue to get involved. His stats were a little inflated by an 81-yard reception last game, but I think that in a potential shootout here against the Eagles, whose secondary is not that good, we could see Shakir smash. All right. Especially at 3,600. It just makes so much work. You get you know, even if you're not stacking up that game, you get a small piece of it and hopefully can get part of the scoring, right? And then finally, the guy that I said it's gross. I wrote this here. It's gross. I can't even believe that I'm writing this, but Taysom Hill is in play this week. He's just got such a high ceiling, you guys. Like 20, 25 points. Like he does it all. This floor is super low. The ceiling is high. The ceiling's super high, right? I want to bring up his game log here real quick because, you know, we get the low end plays like last week where he only had 2 points, but 20.6, 22.5, 16.8, 12.3, the 4 games before that, right? And whether it's receiving, rushing, like he's getting it done. He has multiple TD upside. They love to use him down there. I don't care who starts at quarterback. I think he's fine either way. He's the ultimate GPP play, right? You never know how he's going to be used, but he can really smash for you there. So if we look at DraftKings, let's sort of build a quick lineup here just to give you an idea of sort of what I'm doing this week. And let's start. Well, we're going to build 2 because I'm going to start with Kyler Murray, who I just love. I love this week. And then we're going to put in Trey McBride. Again, love. Okay. We don't have running backs listed over here, but I do like guys like, again, I want to get a little piece of DeAndre Swift, maybe. Let me see. I really like Kyren Williams coming off of that injury. They say he's going to, you know, he was a full participant 3rd day in a row, doesn't have an injury designation. They haven't yet activated him, but he's going to be active. You're going to see him listed in my FanDuel portion of this article, but I do really like a guy like Kyren. Before we get another running back in here, you know, some of the pieces like a Devin Singletary, not as intriguing this week because Dameon Pierce is back, right? Darrell Henderson, have we activated him? No. They waived him and then signed him back to his practice squad. So he's likely probably not even going to be activated, right? Here's a guy who could be sneaky. Samaje Perine. Look, especially on DraftKings. 7 targets, 3 receptions, 3, 2, 3, 3, 2. Like, he's getting some receiving yardages here, some long receiving yardage. Like, against Cleveland, I don't hate him as like a super punt, but we're gonna probably keep this simple here and just play the chalk essentially, right? And let's go DeAndre Swift. So we get Kyren Williams, DeAndre Swift. I'm gonna plug in my DST. I love the Broncos here, and there's that Samaje Perine thing. I said I'd like the double tight end this week, so if I was gonna do it, it looked like this. So now we got 5,500 for wide receivers. Can we get a Thielen in there? I believe we can if we go with a Khalil Shakir. Right, Shakir at 3,600 opens up a ton for us, and now we're 5,600. We can pick a halfway decent wide receiver here and not feel too bad about our guys. So you could go Rashee Rice, Cortland Sutton's a touchdown stud, Gabe Davis, Marquise Brown, if you want to get another piece of it. I think what I'm going to do in this lineup, though, is somebody like, I'm going to say, let's get Cortland Sutton in there. Just because I think that he can, you know, he's a touchdown monster, right? If we weren't going to play Dalton Kincaid in there, what does our flex look like? Right? Dameon Pierce, Rashee Rice, Jalen Warren, right? Like that's a fine lineup, right? I can get on board with that. There's not a lot of defenses that are super intriguing to me this week. Maybe KC, right? If you go KC and then try to get Pacheco, how much do I have left after that? 6,200. I need to make a little bit of salary savings somewhere, and it's probably with Sutton. So maybe that's a different way to build this same sort of lineup, right? Yeah, you can go Downs, Douglas, Shaheed, Tutu Atwell, Bobby Woods, Bobby Trees at 4,000. I think is kind of sneaky here in that Houston-Jacksonville game. That's probably going to go off, right? Don't forget to get pieces of that. Your lineup looks a lot different, though, if you go with Jake Browning, right? So if we get Browning in there and then just say we're going to smash in Jamar Chase, right? And then I don't think you need to run it back, but let's say we want to play Jaylen Warren. And we want to go up to, again, I keep finding myself on DeAndre Swift in this Buffalo game, right? Bills. Oh, sorry, not Bills. I want, let's play it. Let's go cheapy tight end here, and let's play Tanner Hudson as a piece of this, right? You can go full game stack with like a Deontay Johnson or a George Pickens, DST. I said I like the Broncos. I don't love pretty much anybody else. Colts, no. Giants, no. I guess the Patriots defense against Tommy DeVito is maybe sneaky. It's not sneaky. I mean, they're going to be owned, right? So if we're playing the Patriots D, I don't know that we necessarily need the running back, like, sort of the standard play here. But can we get like an AJ Brown right now? Oofda, man, 2 stud receivers, right? And you're still feeling good because you can play that Khalil Shakir cheapy, right? You get 5,800 left. We can play see, it just worked out. It just worked out that way that I can play a Ramondre Stevenson against the Giants. So that would be maybe the second lineup I would build for, I just think that lineup looks a lot better. I don't love necessarily having, no, I do love having 2 Eagles. Swift and Brown can both get there. If we didn't play Brown, we could play Stephon Diggs, right? You could go Thielen and somebody else. 5,300 Thielen and Gabe Davis. Maybe that's the better play, right? So that is DraftKings. Let's take a look at FanDuel right now. And it is starting off with one of the most consistent QBs in the NFL, or at least consistent, highly scoring QB, and that's Baker Mayfield on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Look at that spelling here. I'm have to go ahead and change that. That sticks out like a sore thumb. But Baker Mayfield's a good QB. He really is, you guys. 19.31, 19, 21.38, 17.2. So you take away the dud against the San Francisco 49ers, who pretty much everybody has a dud against. And he's been one of the more like value producing quarterbacks in the slate. Like the ceiling, I think, is maybe a little lower, but it's what you can do with the rest of your lineup when you play him at 6,800. So like playing with Godwin's, Evans, Palmer, love all those guys, right? Palmer's probably the cheapest, but Godwin coming off an injury says he's not designated on the report today. So he should be a full go here, but just like I find myself just continually building Mayfield, Evans, move on, right? So I really do like him this week. The other guy here is just a massively under-owned Josh Allen. So I get that the price is really high. Okay, 9,200. He is $400 more than Jalen Hurts, but like I think he's worth it, right? Like we look at this game log here per game, like 261 passing yards, which is 8th, 2 passing TDs per game, which is 3rd, 1.09 interceptions. The guy's throwing a few picks. I get it, but the guy's he's just really smashing. Like 23, 16, 25, 30, 25, 14, 28, 36. Like he just puts up big numbers every single week outside of that Denver game. Hey, they're playing a lot better. But Josh Allen, I really like Josh Allen this week against the Eagles defense. That's not good. They're going to have a big game. The thing that concerns me, right, is, I mean, obviously we have the ownership value, but the Jalen Hurts 2 touchdown push game is with 2 passing touchdowns means that if you don't have Hurts here, you are likely not anywhere near cashing even, and for sure probably not winning a GPP. So saying that, you have to have some exposure to Hurts. I really do like the idea, if we're playing Josh Allen, to go with Shakir or Gabe Davis, and then adding in Dalton Kincaid, and we're just saying, hey, we're going to play this Josh Allen stack, and we're going to say that it's not going to be Stephon Diggs. He's going to have one of his mediocre games, which very rarely happens, but does happen, right? 4 targets for 27 yards. He's had 2 back-to-back duds, right? So I do really like sort of that build. I think you can get there, and maybe we'll try that here in a second. You can get there. with him, but it's not my favorite. I said I love Kyren Williams. Like, he's going to be a full go. He put up 24 points like the last time these two teams played. Kyren Williams has been a stud. They gave him an extra week off. They thought he maybe could come back a week early. They said, nope, we're going to wait till week 12. Like, there's so much upside at low ownership. I get that the price is high, but 8% ownership, 8,200, smash spot. Deontay Johnson, another guy who I think is going to benefit from a offensive coordinator change. We see him getting a better matchup against the Bengals. We get Matt Canada out of there. He's got 8 targets, 9 targets. Like, he's just getting the ball a ton. Like, it's super speculative that I think he has a big game here, but he's just too good not to at some point. Same with George Pickens, right? I went Deontay Johnson this week. You could go either way. I think that Kenny Pickett is a better passer than we give him credit for. That might be blasphemous, but I think in a hopefully better run offense here, he can have a game. And then the last guy I have listed is super speculative. I get that, and it's super chasey, but I really like Justin Watson. And the reason being is that, like, is Rashee Rice a number 1? No. Is Marquez Valdez-Scantling a number 1? No, he really shouldn't even be on any roster. And after the drop, he ain't getting the ball. Like, Sky Moore, number 1? Nope. Justin Watson was the number 1 last week, right? So we're getting a guy that is priced like a wide receiver 4 who at any point in time can be the number 1 in this Kansas City offense. So I really like Justin Watson this week. It's sketchy, but, like, again, you can build a lineup like this and feel actually good about it when you get in a couple of these turds, right? 11 had a, obviously look at this. Like, this is scary, right? The 13.8 is maybe a blip, but I do like some Justin Watson this week. We already got tight end. Let's go to running back. We've got 6,800 per player left, which means that, again, we've got to get some value in here, but hey, you know me, king of value, right? I don't mind getting an Isaiah Pacheco at 6,600. Jerick McKinnon's going to be out. He is going to have a good game. That's 2 Chiefs in my lineup. Never like my favorite thing, but it works, right? The Chiefs defense is priced appropriately here. But you know who's not really priced appropriately is the Broncos against the Cleveland Browns. So I do like the Broncos. People like Javonte Williams this week. He's not my favorite, but can we fit a Kyren Williams? Heck yeah, we can. And we still have money to play an elite wide receiver, which gets me to like a Tank Dell who has been absolutely smashing, right? So that sort of lineup I can get pretty on board with, right? Man, I keep finding myself with a ton of DeAndre Swift. What's the little blurb we got on him? He is available. He's not listed on the injury report. He was able to full practice. Yeah. He's going to smash against the Bills. I think so. So I don't have my boy Adam Thielen in there. I get that, but like this is a quality lineup. So those are my 10 plays this week, guys. I am hopeful that this was beneficial to you. I hope that you guys enjoyed, seeing behind my process a little bit. Remember, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. If you are not a DFS Army VIP, what are you doing? What are you waiting for? 10% off for life. Use that code UpNorth. That gets you through like almost Christmas here. Yeah, it's 24th today. Gets through Christmas Eve. So make sure you do it. All right. I super appreciate it. And then let me know in the comments who you think is going to be the best under 10% owned play this week. I would love to see it. Helps with my process as well. Cheers. Have a great week.